circumstances at the Oval between India and England. But for England, it's all doom and gloom at this point in time because the major news that is there is Chris Woakes, who suffered an injury yesterday while trying to field a delivery that was driven to long off. He has been ruled out of the fifth test. Chris Woakes has been ruled out because of a shoulder injury, his left shoulder injury. Apparently, it is a very bad dislocation, and that is why England, before they even come out to bat, are already one down. He will not be able to bat, he will not be able to bowl any further in this test match, and that means England are down to only about three pacers, and they don't have adequate spinners also to ensure that they can cover up for most of it. So Chris Woakes yesterday, what happened was that a straight drive was driven. Long off, he was trying to ensure he pulled the ball back in play. He did it. But then he landed awkwardly on the boundary rope, and then you could see that he was clutching his left shoulder. And because of that, Chris Woakes, he then had to be helped off the field. And now, it has now been confirmed. Gus Atkinson also said that in the press conference. We hope that there is nothing wrong with Chris Woakes and that he can come out. But now the worst fears have come true. Chris Woakes will not play any further part in the fifth test that is happening at the Oval. So already on day two, it's bad news for England. Now, how are they going to manage their bowling stocks? Because you just have about close to 20 overs for the new ball. Atkinson will take it. Maybe Josh Tongue will take it. But apart from that, who are the other bowlers that's there? This is the issue that England are facing at this point in time. So we are not going to see any further instance of Chris Woakes playing a part. One hopes that he can be ready for the Ashes because he may have to take a big part in it. This will rekindle the debate upon substitutions. Rishabh Pant suffered a fractured foot in Manchester. Now here, Chris Woakes here has suffered a dislocated shoulder. How will you then ensure, will the ICC later on in the year or next year, will they look into player substitutions in a test match? Now, there is already a concussion substitute. But the concussion substitute also, you've seen certain teams exploit the loophole. That is why when you look at player versus player substitution, just like how it happens in football, in all other kind of tackle sports, this might be an issue that will be further deliberated upon. But then Ben Stokes was very clear on it. He said that if you've suffered an injury, then you'll have to manage accordingly. England will now have to manage without Chris Woakes for the remainder of the match. And not just Chris Woakes the bowler, Chris Woakes the batter will be a huge blow. And that means England's tail is also pretty vulnerable at this point in time. So yes, bad news if you are an England cricket fan. You cannot get a substitution as well. And that is why England are staring at a big, big abyss at the start of this fifth test match at the Oval. It's good news though for India because Woakes did look slightly in rhythm and was troubling the Indian batters along with Gus Atkinson. But then as a batter, Chris Woakes has contributed in certain major instances. And that's why now it's a big blow for England. So yes, Chris Woakes' series is over. It comes on the back of the Indian team announcing that Jasprit Bumrah has been released from the squad. So it's Ben Duckett and Brook. Well, that's a cheeky dig at what Siddharth Gulati just said, that yes, Ben Duckett and Harry Brook could be bowling, but you also have a Jacob Bethel and a Joe Root. So Joe Root and Jacob Bethel could have much more of the bowling duties today. India, remember, are 6 down. Karun Nair is looking in good touch along with Washington Sundar. Let's see how the session pans out. Today and tomorrow, very minimal rain threat. There is not much of rain threat for the second and the third day. On the fourth and the fifth days, there is a very active rain threat that's there at the Oval. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this update. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis.